Hi, and welcome to another edition of our Top 10 Questions. I'm Peter Royster with the Royster Real Estate Group, and today we're going to be doing information that's on homeowners insurance. And we're happy to have Brian Reese with Cash and Forbes Insurance with us today, so appreciate you coming
Hey,
out.
thanks for having me. I thought I was getting a free guitar lesson, so if we're going to talk about insurance, let's
We'll
do
work
that.
on that part afterwards.
Right.
So like I say, the concept behind this is doing kind of some 10 top questions that folks would be interested in learning and things like that. So we'll kind of run down the list. Our first question is, what does a standard homeowners insurance policy cover?
Standard homeowners insurance policy gives you coverage for your home,
Okay.
your personal property inside the home. It also provides you for a budget in case your home is ever damaged, burns to the ground, and you have to live somewhere for a long period of time. It provides a budget for that as well, along with some liability and some other features that just really are there to help you when you need it most.
Yeah, and I think that's important, especially if you're needing to go somewhere else and
Right.
stuff. That's helpful. So how does homeowners insurance differ, take for instance, from renters insurance?
The homeowner's insurance is going to cover the entire structure, also your personal property. Renter's insurance is really only covers the personal property that the renter takes with them
inside
to
it.
live into somebody else's house. So on the flip side of that, we also provide coverage for dwelling fire policies that will cover the structure that you are renting to that individual. So you're only covering the structure, and they're covering their own personal property, and everybody covers their own risk accordingly.
Saves a little money for the homeowner
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how much homeowners insurance, how does somebody know how much I need? When does that start?
Right. Typically, these carriers have reconstruction costs that they generate when we do quotes for them. They have software in that will generate a reconstruction cost on the home, and that's typically what we insure it for.
Okay.
I know, being in your business, it's
little
not.
different.
It's not. It's a little bit different. It's not always what you're paying for the home or what the tax value is of the home.
Sure.
It's really the cost for the insurance company to rebuild your home in the event of a total loss. So those reconstruction costs are key because it's a single home.
Yeah.
Who knows what the environment is for rebuilding this house and how much it could cost
As
at
we
that
saw,
time.
wood went up, so it changed here recently. I mean, so there's different factors that definitely go into it.
And we're seeing that when we're quoting these houses too. So
Okay. So number 4 on that, we talk about deductibles, and I know that comes up when you're getting insurance. What should somebody set their deductible at and why? I mean, what are the benefits and stuff?
right. Again, I think it's when you talk about deductibles, it depends upon how risk averse you are. If you want to have a higher deductible and take on more of the claim risk, then you can lower your premium. If you want the insurance company to take that risk and have a lower 1% or 2% deductible, then the premium's going to be higher. So it gives you options to manage that premium and decide how much of that risk you want to take on.
Okay.
And that's really how I would say we ask questions like that. How comfortable are you with this deductible and this amount in the event of a loss?
And I think sometimes it ends up being what fits into the budget. If you're buying a new home and you're trying to work all these numbers to where that happens, that deductible can make a difference.
It makes a huge difference, and we see that a lot. We work with that a lot and manage that with the customer, and to make sure, again, you're getting the best coverage, the best price.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know personal liability is also part of the insurance. So how does that work, and how much, again, should somebody have?
Typically, the policies will include liability anywhere from $100,000 up to $500,000. That's pretty standard, and we will typically ask you, what do you think? And it's very inexpensive, those price points. But if you're somebody as a client that has a youthful driver, multiple youthful drivers, other rental houses, other property and other exposures that could potentially be a liability for you, we'd look to put you in some excess liability coverage, anywhere from $1 million up to $5 million, to make sure it's very, very inexpensive, and in amount of time of a loss, it's very, very helpful to have that extra liability.
And when you need it is the big key. When all of a sudden it's like, okay, so one of those pieces. So So, what is the main factors in determining homeowner insurance rates? How does that work?
A lot of different factors. Obviously, the amount we're insuring you for. The biggest factor that I'm seeing is where we're insuring you. Obviously, if you're going to be closer to the coast, that premium's going to be a lot higher. And there's a lot of places that even carriers won't write the wind coverage, and you have to go into a pool to write specific wind coverage. But the further away you move from the coast, obviously, the cheaper it gets. The type of home, again, stucco or brick or different things make that. And then, really, when you're talking about the rate, you can manipulate that in ways with the deductibles and different coverage options and things like that we can add or subtract. And again, that would just be based on your your risk assessment and aversion of what you wanted to take on.
Okay, yeah, and I've got folks that have seen that, obviously purchasing even just, Clear Lake area, but especially as you get further down and get to Galveston. No, it's a big difference.
It's
one of those kind of things.
It's a big difference.
So we know that flood insurance, unfortunately, is a big thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, some homes have to have it, some homes don't. How does somebody figure that part out?
Well, typically we'll run a flood zone determination on all the properties that we quote, and if you're not in a flood zone, previously you got basically just a very preferred rate. It was the same for everyone.
Yeah.
That is changing. They have made a change starting this year, so even though you're not in a flood zone, you will be rated, each house will be rated individually. So where in the past it might have been $500 for the year to get it, it may be $700 or $1,100, depending upon where you are and where this house is. And what we've seen is that we're now using a lot of private carriers to quote these properties through, because the National Flood Insurance Program has been out of money for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so now these other carriers are coming in and absorbing that risk and still making it affordable for people to get flood insurance.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we do is, as we're looking for properties for our clients, we're actually checking to see if it's in a flood zone. And the other piece of that is the elevation certificates that you can get, which in effect is saying, hey, how high is this property that may help bring the rate down? So there's little things that may also help.
There are, and I would say now, from a real estate perspective, it's so much more important now to be cognizant of that and to be looking at that and to be really finding out what is flood insurance going to cost, because again, it may make a big difference in
buying or not.
Buying or not, right. And so what you don't want to do is get all the way down to the end and we go to get insurance and the insurance is $2,000 and the customer says, hey, I'm good.
Hence the reason we do it up front.
That's right.
All right, number 8 on the list is what are the current changes to the National Flood Insurance Program?
Well, I talked a little bit about that. Just basically no longer having preferred rates. They have moved out and kind of left this opening for these private carriers to come in, reassess the risks, and they're doing a little bit better job. I think they probably needed to do something like this previously.
Sure.
I don't think all of them were rated the same.
Yeah.
And so they're able to go in and maybe instead of the 500 charge 7 or charge 10. That's a little more distinct to that property and get the proper rate. You know, but it's still very affordable.
Yeah.
And I still think that it's something that if you're going to be getting a home, that certainly advise that you look at
we tell folks, I would always, especially if it's not needed because it becomes very affordable, as you say, we always tell folks I get flood insurance.
Yeah, I don't know the specific number, but it was somewhere between 50 to 60% of the people that flooded in Harvey had never flooded before.
Yeah. No,
and that includes Memorial Day and Tax Day floods.
Yeah, yep. Number 9 on it is, what are the advantages of the private carriers for flood insurance?
Hit on that a little bit, yeah. They're just they're absorbing a little more of that risk. They've given the homeowners more options. Yeah. And the more options you have, the better coverage and the better pricing you're going to get.
Sure.
So they left an avenue for that, and these private carriers have stepped in and taken that.
And the more specific, again, you may get some benefits on your particular house that in the past was more blanketed.
Sure.
So
sure.
All right, number 10 is, how often should we shop insurance rates?
Well, you should always shop with an independent agent.
Absolutely. Because they have choices.
We have choices, that's right. But I usually tell people about every 2 years.
Okay.
One of the things our agency does is we will review your renewal each year. We get notified of it each year. So if we see a spike or we know a carrier's taking a big rate increase, we're going to reach out and contact you and say, hey, we need to go reshop this and look at this.
Look at this thing again.
Even if you're not looking at it every 2 years, we typically will look at it for you each year to make sure if there's any spikes, we're letting you know about it and alerting you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope this was very helpful for everybody. If you've got other questions for insurance for Brian, even for us, we're going to send you to Brian. But anyways, definitely give us a holler back. And at the end of this video, we're going to have information so you can contact either one of us. Brian, appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me.
And we hope this was a good video for you. We're going to keep doing them. And if there's a particular video that you want to see on, kind of a top 10 questions, contact us. Let us know. We'd love to continue to make sure that we're providing some good information for folks that are out there.
Would you do it? Would you do a top 10 guitar players of all time video?
We'll have to work on that one because it would not be me. But anyways, so like I say, we hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks.
Thanks.